Well, the Houston Astros have a hole at catcher. How are they going to fill it? Are they going to fill it Victor Caratini? Are they going to bring in Cesar Salazar, be a full-time backup? Or are they going to go outside of the farm system to get somebody to be the catcher? We'll talk about this on tonight's Locked On Astros podcast.
Yainer Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we update you joins for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. Brett Chancey will be here in a few minutes, but thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check us out. Between Brett and I, we have over 18 years of podcasting experience, and we want you to think it's cool to be an everydayer. Coming December, there's going to be something pretty cool for everydayers. We'll go and talk about that a little bit down the road. But guys, for this show, thank you to FanDuel. FanDuel is sponsoring this episode. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. So for this episode, we're going to focus a little bit on the catching situation. I know Yainer Diaz might have taken a small step back this year, but what could we expect in 2026? Is he going to kind of regain some of his form that he had before? Also, I don't know about y'all, but I'm really curious about what happens to Victor Caratini. I know he's not due to make a lot of money. We'll talk about what Spotrac says his market value is, but I think that his value on this team is very important. And so Cesar Salazar is great, but Victor Caratini can offer you something that Salazar cannot. So we'll talk about that. And if it's not if it's not Caratini, who is the backup? Is it somebody from outside the system? We'll go and talk about this and more on tonight's Locked On Astros podcast. So I know that a lot of people said that Yainer Diaz took a step back this year, and he did. If you're looking at what his chase rate was, we've already talked about it. He was like in the top let's say the bottom of 1 percentile with 44.3% chase rate. His whiff percentages was 58%, which is about a little bit above average. His strikeout rate was not bad, 77 percentile, so that was about 16.8, but we saw kind of a drop of everything else. His batting average, his OPS, there's a lot of stuff, and his defensive metrics, some of that kind of went down. In fact, if you looked at his blocks above average, it was -2 at which 28. His caught stealing above average was a 1. His framing was a -4, and his pop time was 1.95. So this is something that the pop time has been a big strength for him as he came up through the Astros farm system. And I think that Diaz has just taken a step back, whether it's the league adjusting to him or whatever happened this year. But Diaz still recovered to have not a bad season, 20 home runs, 256 batting average with a 701 OPS. That's down from 766 the year before that. And the year before that, he had a 846 OPS. That year in 2023, he had 23 home runs, 16 home runs the year before, and then 20 this year. So he took a step back in some ways, but I think that it was a microcosm of what happened to this Astros team. A lot of players kind of played below their normal levels. And when Brett joins in a second, we'll talk about this a little bit more. But Yainer Diaz, he's the Astros catcher. I'm not taking this away from him. They're not going to go out and get a starting catcher. Yainer Diaz is still the starting catcher. I know that he'll work on stuff to improve defensively over the offseason and try to figure out what happened with his offensive numbers. He's gone down a lot since 2023 season. But like I said, the league typically does adjust to you, and so it's up to you to make that adjustment back. So the big question from today's show, and somebody brought it up, Mauricio Dubon will be on the podcast tomorrow night. So go ahead and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. I know we were talking about a backup catcher, but utility player, Mauricio Dubon, is one of the best in the game. And in fact, that he was also nominated for a Gold Glove for a utility player. This means that he's played multiple positions. So this is something that we're going to keep our eye on. I believe Brett did another podcast earlier talking about this. But Mauricio Dubon will be joining us live. So if you got any questions, just go ahead and send it to me at Eric Talk Stros or Brett at H-Town Wellhouse on X, and we'll go ahead and try to get those questions in. But we do appreciate him coming on the podcast. So go and make sure you tune in tomorrow night at 9 p.m. But going back to the situation right now, Victor Caratini, this is a player that I felt like was one of the biggest guys the Astros need to re-sign. I know people might say, well, what about Framber Valdez? I think Valdez's time with the Houston Astros is over. I think that he is he deserves to come back. I know that he's coming off a 2-year, $12 million deal. He was making $6 million per year, but he is right now a backup catcher. He's not a starting catcher. I think the Astros signed him just in case Yainer Diaz struggled. You had another option, and Victor Caratini was that option. And so the Astros need to really consider re-signing Victor Caratini. Is he the best player out there? No, but he's a player that could help the Houston Astros. And so if you're looking at what he does compared to Diaz, his chase percentage is an 80th percentile, which is really good. His whiff percentage is 78th percentile, and his strikeout rate is really low. It's in the 77th percentile. So he offers something that Diaz does not. That ability to make contact. He's not going to hit a lot of home runs. He did have 12 home runs this year, but overall, he's just not. He's not going to be a big power guy, but he's going to do what he's done for the Houston Astros. Prove as a clutch hitter off the bench, somebody that can come in late in games and get the job done, and also play first base, DH, and just give you a good bat. And how many times this year can we say, wow, this team is not putting up some good at bats? But Victor Caratini has been one of those consistent guys. He's a switch hitter, so you have another left-handed hitter. So this is another situation. But I know I've seen a lot of people say, well, go ahead and just rebuild. The Astros are not in rebuild mode. If they have another season of losing, well, they didn't even lose this year. I guess they didn't make it to the playoffs, so we just think that they lost. But they still won 87 games. This team, with a few tweaks, they still can be a good team. But losing a guy like Victor Caratini, I believe, would be a big loss. And I'm going to have to ask this guy right here, Brett Chancey, H-Town Wellhouse, what he thinks about Victor Caratini.
What's up, Eric? How you doing? Glad you can make this show.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to make a Chick-fil-A run for my son. He's knee deep in AP homework, and I was like, look, you stay, I'll go get it. And then you sent me the text, and I was like, oh, it's that time. So we're talking about Victor Caratini. Are you talking about the priority of keeping him in Houston? Yeah. Look, I think keeping Victor Caratini is very important. You want, or you hope that Yainer Diaz takes a big step forward, because of the issues he had this year. We know he's got a hot bat, but what I love about Caratini is he hits from both sides of the plate. He doesn't just play catcher. He can also play first. He can DH. And so, I think I've underestimated his value a little bit. I put a tweet out earlier this offseason where I said, the Astros can get a pretty good deal from him. They maybe pay him, I don't know, 7 or 8, but I think he's going to want between 9 and 11, probably going to want a 2 or 3 year deal. But for a backup catcher that can play multiple positions, that can hit and has had success in Houston, I think it's very important. I think the Astros need that. And maybe you need that to keep Diaz's feet to the fire, because Diaz, I think, needs that competition. But Diaz has got to step up, because I'm not saying Caratini would take his position, but you've got a solid backup. And if Diaz is slumping, you can put Caratini in there with confidence.
Yes. So, guys, we'll go and continue this conversation next. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Hey, guys, let's go and talk about FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Whether it's on who's going to win the World Series, are the Mariners going to finally make it to the World Series, or is it going to be the Dodgers going back to the World Series? What about the football? You have the Texans games this weekend, and even the Rockets are coming back. There's a lot going on that you can take advantage of with FanDuel. So what are you waiting for? Visit the FanDuel app to get started today and get started with possibly $300 back. Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check us out. So before the break, we were talking about Victor Caratini. I do want to continue this because I believe that Victor Caratini is going to be the one player the Astros absolutely 100% need to resign. And yes, he only batted .259 with 12 home runs this year, 728 OPS. But like I said earlier, he didn't strike out a lot. He put good at-bats together, and he came in clutch a lot of times. But you would think, oh, this guy is going to demand a lot of money. But Spotrac has his market value at only about $2.3 million. They're saying he's probably going to get a 1-year deal. I think if the Astros offer him a 2 to maybe 3-year deal just to be a backup catcher, he'll want to stay in Houston. I think that a lot of the Astros players, they have this like unfilled desire from this season. Like they wanted to go to the playoffs. They want to just figure out how to get back there. And I think Victor Caratini is one of those players that's hungry to get back to the playoffs. And he knows that the best way to do it is probably with the Houston Astros. You're muted.
I am. No,
Yes.
I'm not.
You're not.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't touch anything. That's weird. So Victor Caratini, I think he gets a much bigger salary than $2 million. What did he get this last year? What did he make this last year?
He just finished a 2-year, $12 million deal, so $6 million per year.
Would you pay him $9 million a year for 2 years?
No, I don't think he's gonna get a raise, so to speak. I think that if anything, he'll get 3 years, maybe $5 million or so. But a backup catcher, you're not going to get a lot of money. So he'll probably test free agency and see what's out there to see if he can get some more money elsewhere. But I don't see a backup catcher getting $9 million per season. If anything, they'll give him a longer deal than any other team would.
Yeah, maybe 2 years, 3 years, maybe give him seven for 3. I mean, that's 21. You give him 7.5 for 2. That's $15 million. That's more than he's ever made. So, we'll have to see, because after him, you have Cesar Salazar, who's, I think, a solid option, but he's your backup to the backup. Guys that you have in the wings, and like we talked to Kenny the other day, we don't necessarily have any catchers that are really ready to go at this point. I think that's why it's imperative that, Diaz improves, but also that these catchers, whoever the catching coach is going to be, can we just hire Martin Maldonado? Hire Martin Maldonado as the coach. then he could be your emergency third catcher. No, I'm joking. But you know, Martin coming in, being a coach would be a plus. And then having Diaz and Caratini. But one of the things they need to do is they need to talk to these pitchers about being quicker to the plate, Eric. Right. Our pitchers are not very quick to the plate, and they need to work on that. And so if we are not in the market for another catcher, which I don't know who's out there, I think Caratini is a slam dunk because he knows the team. He's a part of the culture. I think is just as much a part of this clubhouse as Yainer Diaz is. And he is a consummate veteran. He's a guy that you can depend on. So let's just say I don't see him going anywhere else, you know, and you say, well, they can't keep everybody. Well, that's right. I mean, you got other guys, Urias, Chas McCormick, other guys that if you lose them, you're not really feeling the brunt of that blow, I think, like you would with Caratini, because Caratini's had game-winning hits. He's a smart hitter, and he offers you a left-handed or right-handed bat anytime he's up to the plate.
Yeah, so if you're looking at what the Astros did in the catching position, according to Fangraphs, they had a 4.3 WAR total, which is 7th best in the baseball. And then according to Baseball Reference, they had 2.4 WAR. So it just depends on what metrics you're looking at. Baseball Reference has them ranked as 12th. Fangraphs, I'm going to go with this just to say that's the 7th best WAR in baseball. You're not going to catch Cal Riley or anything, but this is definitely a duel that you need to keep together, because what one is weak at, the other one's strong at. I wish that they were both, one of them was strong at throwing out runners. Like I talked about earlier, Diaz, he wasn't very good with caught stealings, but this year Caratini wasn't either. So he was -4. Caratini is -2 at framing. And pop time, it's a little bit better than Diaz with 2.05. But overall, I think that Caratini is probably the better defensive catcher. But you got to give Diaz a shot because he is a young player. He's still trying to figure out what type of player he's going to be. And if Diaz can get to sort of where he was in 23 when he had the 26 home runs, and with the 849 OPS or whatever it was, that's the best scenario here. But Caratini is a must. So I'm going to look at what free agent catchers there are out there. But I don't think they're going to spend a lot for a catcher. There's bigger needs.
Yeah, and actually, Rio, I actually have a counter to what you're saying, because while this is more of an opinion, he doesn't seem to have as high baseball IQ to be a catcher. That's not what Jason Alexander said. Jason Alexander, one of the Astros starting pitchers this year that had a lot of success. And let me tell you about the endorsement of a major league pitcher. When a major league pitcher endorses a catcher unfettered without prompting, then that says something about Diaz. Now, obviously, does he have room for improvement? 100%. Do I think Diaz is satisfied or doesn't get better? No, he's not stagnant. He's not stalemated in his development as a young catcher. But I'll have to 100% disagree with you, Rio, because that makes no sense at all. If he didn't, then he wouldn't be a catcher at the major league level. Now, we don't like his production. I promise you, because the conversation I had with him before the season started and what I saw on the field didn't match. So you better bet he's going to go back to the drawing board and find out what he can do to improve, because Yainer Diaz knows it's all about playing time and it's all about keeping your job. And not that Victor Caratini comes in and steals his job, but if Diaz has another year like he did last year, Eric, then they're going to really start looking elsewhere for their catching, either prospects bringing them up quicker or going out and getting somebody. And he absolutely wants to keep his job. No, why would you get Mitch Garver and Gary Sanchez as free agent backup catchers if you have Caratini and you have Diaz? But anyways, I just want to say I think that was really off to say that he doesn't have the intelligence to be a catcher. I mean, I think that's an opinion. There's nothing that's based on.
Astros podcast, your first listen every day.
What? Hey, y'all, this is H-Town Wheelhouse, and I'm here for Prize Picks. Prize Picks has got some really cool deals for you. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. Just pick more or less on your player projections. Josh Allen, who is my fantasy quarterback, Saquon Barkley, who's my fantasy running back. In this last week, they did not come through. But you know what? If I would have picked the under on some of these things with Josh Allen, I would have won. I love how quick it is. You can make your lineup in under a minute. My favorite part is Prize Picks just added stacks. So if you want to ride with the player, I can select their pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns all in one lineup. It's also fun to follow other players in the app and copy their lineup in one click. And the new injury reboot feature, if your player leaves early and doesn't return, it won't count against you. So right now, you have got to check out the new max discount, all right? Steph Curry, 0.5 points. Boom, you get it. You get everything from the Golden State Warriors versus the Lakers game on October 21st. Steph Curry is discounted to only needing more than a half point to win. Mix and match players from football, basketball, and baseball to build your dream team today. Download Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us first listen, Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. We want to thank you for being everydayers. There's going to be a cool new feature coming up in December. So we'll talk about that closer to time. But we appreciate everybody that's going to tune in throughout the whole offseason. Brett and I will be here talking about all the Astros moves. I know Brett already talked about the Gold Glove nominations for Mauricio Dubon and Cam Smith. But right today, we're focusing on the catching situation. And I just was looking up the free agent catchers, and I'm just going to say some names. I don't think some of these people are really realistic, but JT Realmuto, he has a market value of $12.9 million. You have Christian Vazquez. You can bring him back. He has a 1.1 market value million. Then you have Victor Caratini, the 2.3. Max Stassi is available if anybody wants him. Gary Sanchez is out there. He has a 4.3. Jacob Stallings, James McCann. And there's just not many options out there for a backup catcher.
Yeah, Stallings was someone that you thought maybe a couple years ago. Who was the last guy you mentioned after Stallings?
James McCann. They're both 35.
McCann was a guy like a couple years ago. You know, a lot of these guys are a couple years ago, they would have been great. But at the end of the day, we're not getting JT Realmuto. I mean, you can say JT and Vasquez. No, Tej said JT and Vasquez. Yeah, that's not happening. I would be shocked if he didn't go back to Philadelphia. Someone said I can dunk. No, I actually I could grab a rim, Eric. When I was in college, I could grab a 10-foot rim and hold on to it, but I could not dunk a basketball. But I had some pretty decent ups. Trust me. I got people that can attest to it. They saw it firsthand. But the catching part of the game is going to be great. But my question is, if our catchers improve, will the pitchers still put them in positions where they're going to be able to throw runners out? That's going to be the key thing. There's not a lot of catchers throwing out runners on a regular basis. They made the bases bigger because they want runners moving. They want more movement on the base pass. They want more runs on the board. And speaking about runs on the board, I really thought the Blue Jays were going to be done after this game. After going down 2-0, the Blue Jays are shellacking and crushing the Mariners tonight, 12-2. George Springer has a home run tonight. Vlad Guerrero Jr. has a home run tonight. I mean, The boys in blue are looking awesome. So there is hope for a 7-game ALCS series because, Eric, I'm going to have to wear my I hope both teams lose shirt. If it's the Mariners and the Dodgers, that's just going to kill me.
Yes, going back to Caratini for a second, he had a 101 OPS plus during the season. He also had a 150 WRC plus at catching, which is the second among all catchers out there. So I know with at least 100 plate appearances. So I know he was an everyday player, but still that's a pretty impressive stat there. But I just think that the catching, I don't know if it's Michael. I think the scapegoat has become Michael Collins, the bench coach, the catching coach. So he was the one that was let go. So I'm sure they're going to find another catching coach to maybe work on the defensive issues that we had. But I don't think framing is going to be a big issue that much anymore because you're going to have ABS coming. So
yeah, but that's only to challenge. You can only challenge like 2 pitches a game. It's not right. See, but that's where I think people are getting too excited about. Guys, this does not mean that the ABS system is going to be calling balls and strikes. Now, they did that in AAA 2 seasons ago where every weekend, the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday game, they had the automatic balls and strikes calling it and telling the umpire what the call was. They're not having that. But yeah, his framing is terrible. I mean, his arm, let's see. Arm is 87.1 miles per hour. That's the second lowest. 88.5 is what he was in 2023. He had every year he's had at least 1.5 stolen bases, average pop time for third base, pop time for second base. His pop time kind of ranged around the same. It's minuscule numbers, Eric, but the problem is he was worth -4 runs catching, and that's the most that he's had. That's the least amount of runs he's been catching runs since he's gotten into the league. He was 0, -1, and -4. So he's got to get better. He just has to get better. And I don't know what you do in the offseason as a catcher. I mean, I caught when I was in Little League, but I didn't. I mean, dude, my last season, I threw out 24 of 28 runners that tried to steal on me. I had a hell of an arm. I had crazy pop time. I kind of Benito Santiago the ball. I would catch the ball and throw from my knees, and I would get him out every time. But I was scrawny, and I was throwing against other kids. This is a guy that's throwing against major leaguers. This is a guy that's throwing against major leaguers who know the timing of the pitcher, the bigger bases. So there's a shorter distance, and those few inches make a big difference. So he just got to work on it. He's got to go back to the lab and work his tail off to get that pop time up because it was looking good. But remember, it was looking good when he was splitting time with Maldonado.
Yeah. And if you're looking at the catching duel as a whole, they had a 15% throw caught stealing rate this year. Diaz actually had a higher 18%, but Caratini was 11%. I believe that Caratini has the weaker arm, but I just think that he's still what he can offer you as a backup catcher, as somebody that can play first base, DH. But I just remember all those clutch hits he had this year where you needed those hits in late in the game. So I think that I know that they're the second worst tandem in baseball in terms of throwing out runners. And that is something that they need to work on, both of them during the offseason, and try to figure that out. But they're second to worst. The worst team was the Marlins. So that says something about the Astros. But they can try to figure things out. Diaz is young enough to figure things out and improve everything. But Diaz is in his first year of salary arbitration eligible. So he's probably going to be making a little bit more than the $800,000 he made last year, but he's not going to be a free agent until after 2028 season. So I'm pretty sure that Caratini Diaz is going to make a slight raise, but I still think Caratini is worth it to go ahead and try to bring him back.
Did you see what the qualifying offer level was set by Major League Baseball?
It's not 19.8.
No, it's 22.5.
Framber Valdez might just say, F it, I'm going to take that. I know.
Heck, no, he's not. Not La Grasa. No, not the flow, man. No, dude. He's gonna take that and say, see, I didn't take the qualifying offer in Houston. I want like 32 million per year. I don't want 22. And look, Eric, the guy gives you 180 innings. He's durable. I know he's had meltdowns. I know at the worst times he's not been great. But for the majority of the season, Framber Valdez is the guy that is not your atypical pitcher. He stays off the IL.
Yeah.
And he just freaking deals. And when he's on, he's got the most devastating ground ball inducing stuff in Major League Baseball. So I don't know if the flow is going to flow back to Houston, but I'm pretty sure it will prompt him to turn it down. If he signs with another team, the Astros will get a pick between the 4th and the 5th round.
Yeah. So I'm going to put Christian Watson's little post right here. He just said, for me, it's the worst year ever at that position. Do we remember Evan Gaddis trying to catch, being the backup catcher? I think
that was it the worst year ever for Yainer Diaz, or are you saying the worst year ever for any catcher?
I think catching position.
So. It very well could be, Christian. It could be. I mean, if you look at the numbers, they're pretty bad.
Yeah,
they are not good. So yeah.
So backups, we already eliminated free agents. You got Cesar Salazar. You got a couple more guys in the farm system, but Cesar Salazar is probably going to get the first look if the Astros don't bring back Caratini or somebody else. But guys, we got all off season to debate this, to discuss this, but we're super excited about tomorrow's interview. Mauricio Dubon, I already mentioned it earlier, is going to be coming on the podcast. And I know he was nominated along with Cam Smith for another Gold Glove. So we'll see if he gets it, but it'll be exciting to get to talk to Dubon. And so, Brett, any last words?
No, just, like you said, super excited. 9 p.m. tomorrow night. We got some really cool questions to ask him. And if we have time, load up your questions, get some good questions out there. We'll try to fit some in. We can't promise anything. And also, if you didn't catch the bonus content, check out the bonus episode on the Gold Glove winners or nominees of Cam Smith and Mauricio Dubon. So y'all have a good one, and we'll see y'all tomorrow night.
I think Jose Altuve he should be one of those guys. I mean, he's very good in left field, right?
Wait.